It's the beginning of November, and this is the first pike session of the year for me and Stu. We're planning on fishing this reservoir over the winter to try and bag a decent sized pike. I have fished this once before, back in February 2020, and it was in treacherous conditions. The weather was horrendous, as in it wouldn't stop raining, but I did manage a couple of small jacks, and that was my one and only pike session from last winter. So you join us at this reservoir at the beginning of November, and this is how we got on. It was an early start. We got there in the dark, set up and fished the car park swim just as it was coming light. It wasn't long before Stu was in.
Where's you landing at?
Yeah.
Oh. Nice one.
I've missed 2 takes and then just had this little gill.
Not bad that, Stu. Not bad start for half an hour's fishing, is it? Superb. That's looking promising. Three runs in less than an hour. Probably the same fish like, but you hooked up the third time, so I've got a nice little jack, lovely condition, so it's looking promising. So let's hope we get a few more runs between us.
It seemed good pike conditions. It was windy, good chop on the water, but pretty mild as it was still early November. And it wasn't long before Stu was into his second fish. He'd obviously given me the duff peg. After about a couple of hours we moved swims. The runs dried up and it went dead, so we moved swims and we split up a little bit. I ended up fishing on the muddy bank, what they call the muddy bank. Stu was fishing to me right in the trees, but didn't have anything, and it was all quiet on my swim as well. So after about an hour I ended up moving further down towards the bridge as nothing was doing.
Absolutely gutted. I've just lost a crumper of a pike. Got cut off on the rocks on my braid. Absolutely gutted. And while I was resetting up I just had another take, but it was a little jack. Still gutted. There we are. Look at that. Hooked right in the scissors. How easy is that to unhook? Brilliant. That's why I love them. That's why I love these circle hooks. Superb.
To say I was gutted about losing that pike was an understatement. It did feel big, and it's just the way my braid just went. I had it on for about 10 seconds I think it was, and next minute my braid just went as though something had just sliced through it with ease. So when I got back home I had a quick check on the internet to see what could have done it, because I was baffled. So after losing that fish we both moved down to what we call the quarry swim. I'm not sure what it's called, but we just call it the quarry swim. It looked really good for a pike, just looked really pikey. So we stopped there for about an hour and had some dinner. We give it about an hour and a half, and absolutely nothing. We just couldn't get a bite. So we ended up moving further around, crossing over the bridge and moving to the shallows on the opposite side. After about half an hour of fishing here, my rod went and I lost a jack at the net. And funny enough, last time I fished it back in February, I had 2 jacks from the same swim. So time was getting on a bit by this, and we had a fair walk back to the car, so we ended up walking back to where we started on the car park swim and fished an hour into dark. However, this didn't result in any more fish. All that happened is I got plagued by eels for an hour. For the second session, we thought we'd try a completely different tactic. We fished a swim that I'd never fished before. Stu had previously had his PB pike out of it, about 16.5 pound. So, because the weather was bad, we thought, right, we're going to camp out and stay in the one swim and just sit there from dusk till dawn and see if we get a run. The session was pretty uneventful, with just 1 jack coming off at the net, and basically that was it. No more signs of action, so we've written it off as a bad day. So for our third session, we thought we'd try somewhere different. Another big reser, not too far from us. We pulled up in our cars and it was -4 in the morning. It was still dark when we got there and it was -4. It was absolutely freezing. And the fog rolled in and it just never went above freezing all day. It was probably the coldest day I've ever fished, to be honest. And there was all cat ice in the margins. It was just horrendous. If we hadn't booked the day off, I'd have turned around and got home. So we basically spent that day blanked and just froze all day. So the next session we ended up back at the same reservoir, but we fished a completely different part of the reservoir. The weather was more favourable. It was a lot milder, but it was wet and windy. And we just camped out in the same swim all day. It took us 2 hours to find another spot to fish that day. But where we chose was a nice inlet from the reservoir above. It was a bit crammed, but we made do for the day. This was to result in a new PB for me at just under £15.
So this is Graham with his PB pike.
Maybe, we don't weigh it here.
Maybe. Blind in one eye. Lovely fish.
Side. Dark colours, isn't it? Like brownie colour. Turn it round. Get the other side.
There's his blind side.
Look at that. Made up with this.
Bet you are, lad.
It's 2021 now, and all the waters have been froze for a good 4 weeks. Me and Stu have been out in that time when we can, but the fishing has been so hard. We don't think we've had a run in 4 day sessions. So today it's gone milder, it's a few degrees today, and we've gone back to our original reservoir for a day session roving round. For the first couple of hours of the session we split up. Stu went in his swim where he had his PB pike from, and I moved further around the lake in a swim that had never fished before. At last, today, we both had a fish each.
That's a bit strange, my bung's just gone flat. Nothing's happened. Let's see if there's a fish on the end. Superb. First fish of 2021, I think. Don't think I've had one this year. Only a little tiny jack, but who cares. I had two on the bottom and I just, on my left, where I showed you before, but to my right there's a little gap in between two bushes. So I dropped a little bung, fishing about 3 foot under the surface, and within a minute, wasn't even a minute I don't think, the bloody bung went. I got myself a nice little jack, made up. Like I said, I've been out three maybe 4 day sessions and not had anything at all, not even a run. Little nick on it there. Since the water's froze, just been rock hard fishing, but it's about 7 or 8 degrees today, so I'm hoping they're on the move a little bit and made up, and we get a couple of runs. The 3 or 4 lads in the trees over there, they've had 2 runs and 1 fish landed, so it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm hoping when we move spots we're going to get a run at each spot, so we'll see how the day progresses. Let me get this one back now.